Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Advancing Oceanside podcast, brought to you by the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. The Advancing Oceanside podcast hosts business and community leaders from all industries to help inform, better educate, and ultimately advocate for a prosperous economic climate here in Oceanside. Joining us on this week's episode is Chris Weiner, the outside sales manager for Alphagraphics Oceanside and the new chair for the Oceanside Chamber's Young Professional Network. In our interview, Chris emphasizes how important it is to make and maintain relationships to be successful in his industry, provides his tricks to establishing connections, and discusses his plans and goals for the future of young professionals here in North County. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I know that you are very involved in Oceanside and with the community and various businesses. And like I said, you're also the new chair of our Oceanside Young Professionals group. So you wear many hats here, but tell us a little bit about yourself and your role and how you got started in North County and with Alphagraphics.
Yeah, sure, Hannah. So originally, I'm from Oregon. I went to the University of Oregon, majored in economics, and I worked for Wells Fargo up there for a number of years. And my roommate from college moved down here and got a job. And so I was very attracted to the weather here and the climate, and I thought there was a little more opportunity for me down here. So moved down to San Diego, and this was back in 2012. And just fell in love with the city. I began looking for a new job. I came across Alphagraphics in my searching. I got an interview. I remember the very first question Tom had asked me, the owner. He asked me, "What's your favorite book and why?" And I'm a voracious reader, and so we talked about books for the next 10 or 15 minutes, and the interview must have lasted hours, but it felt like it went by in a flash. So I knew it was going to be a good fit for me professionally and personally, and if I worked real hard financially. And so that's how I got started at Alphagraphics. Alphagraphics is a local service disabled, veteran owned small business. When I got hired at the time, I was the only full-time salesperson on staff. And so I really liked the challenge of helping to build a company from the ground up and being directly responsible for the success of the company. And it gave me an opportunity to get away from being chained to a desk and the phone and to be out in the field, customer facing, and really trying to help local businesses be successful through signage and print marketing and marketing collateral. So I really love engaging with the community. That's why I do so much networking. I'm an ambassador for the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce, not as active as I'd like to be, but I'm involved with MainStreet Oceanside. I volunteer on some of their committees to help make downtown Oceanside more prosperous. And what else? I'm the co-chair for the Oceanside Unified School District's CTE program. That's the Career Technical Education Committee, and that helps students with hands-on training, mentoring, internships, and helps them develop resume skills, job interview skills. And so really my role with them is to help support the growth and expansion of the various pathways that they have. And, to help students get the most out of, those projects. And last but not least, I'm, the new chair for the Oceanside Young Professionals Network. Super excited about that. It gives those of us who are young at heart opportunities to build connections and to develop professionally. The OYPN's been extremely fun. There's been, team building events and volunteer opportunities and professional development workshops. We've done things like scavenger hunts at the Art Museum. We've done team building exercises at Dave and Buster's, but it's just been a great way for me to meet new people, build those relationships, with those who are the future and the emerging leaders of the business community.
Right, absolutely. And I just love how you're involved in so many different things. It's like something I wish that I could do. I don't know how you do it, but wearing so many hats is awesome. And obviously, we'll discuss your relationship building and such later on in the interview. But that's a huge thing, and I know a huge part of your success with Alpha Graphics. So I applaud you for being in so many different roles. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, so I know you touched on a little bit of what Alpha Graphics does as a full service printing and marketing facility here locally in Oceanside. Can you tell us a little bit about the sales and marketing industry here in North County and what excites you about it? I can tell you're very passionate about what you do. So give us a little bit of detail on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I found out and what I've came to love after working in Oceanside is really just the strong sense of community that the city has. I found it to be a very tight knit community. It's been on the up and up for years. It's really developing into a thriving beach community. The people in this town, probably more than anywhere else I've ever been, really want to help support the businesses here. Things from like the thriving restaurant community. We have some impressive restaurants here, anything from Bliss Tea to 333 Pacific to Pacific Coast Spirits, LTH. There's a lot of choices to dine out, and there's a lot of opportunities to work with these businesses, which we do. Um, the new hotels coming in downtown, based on my conversations with them, they're actively trying to work with strictly local vendors. And I just got word from them actually that we'll be doing their printing. So I'm super excited about that.
Yay. Congratulations.
Yeah, to be a part of their development. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's one thing that I've noticed is kind of consistent with everyone that we interview or everyone we speak with is just the huge sense of community and how I would say Oceanside is just growing so much and there's so many opportunities with that.
Mhm.
Um, so going back to kind of your relationship building, I remember one time you had mentioned, I believe it was during a First Tuesday coffee or something, but your goal is to make 10 new correct connections a day. So correct me if I'm wrong on that, but how has that mentality helped you progress in the industry that you're in?
So yeah, it is part of my performance expectations at work is to try to make 10 new contacts a day. There's over 6,000 new businesses in Oceanside, not new, but businesses in Oceanside. Over 3,000 of them are brick and mortar stores. So there's a ton of opportunity to network and to offer my services throughout the community.
Mhm.
So, I look at it like 10 new contacts is barely scratching the surface every day.
Mhm.
And I've been at it for 3.5 years, and I only have like 2,600 contacts in my CRM. So
Mhm.
I try to be ambitious, but it's been a good goal to set. The days that I don't want to pick up the phone or that I just want to stay in my office doing admin work,
Right.
forces me to get out of myself and to reach out and make those connections. I came up with my approach was I would stop by these businesses. I created this as a popcorn box,
Mhm.
and I'd slap a sticker on it and staple my business card to it. I'd put a pen in it and some popcorn, microwave popcorn,
Yeah.
some Cheez-Its and a granola bar and a brochure. And I would stop by businesses I've never met, new the very first, cold call and hey, I'm just popping by or I just popped in to say hello and
Love
I'd leave the
it.
popcorn box and it was gimmicky and a little cheesy, but it worked really well. And I know this because I could call a business that I stopped by 2 years ago and be like, hey, I was the guy with the popcorn box. Do you remember me? And every time without fail, they're like, oh yeah, I remember talking to you. And so it's been a great way to ice break. And, sometimes I'd walk into these businesses years later and I'd still see my popcorn box sitting on their desk. And it's like, okay, well,
Mhm.
that's working for us.
Yeah.
So COVID has changed that. I've had to accommodate the regulations, and so instead of going, door to door to businesses, I try to reach out by phone or email. I do a lot of texting or even other indirect means. So I've had to, pivot a little, but yeah, definitely always trying to make new contacts has been really the keystone of my business.
Right, that's awesome, and being someone who personally loves gimmicks, I love the popcorn box, I love just, like, having that thought in someone's mind, I think that's amazing. I think it's a great way to kind of just drop it in, not just hand people papers that might, end up in the recycling bin, unfortunately. But so that's amazing. I know you've probably touched on this, but can you just express how important it is to making and maintaining relationships in your industry?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the most important thing. We are in the business of making relationships, and it's definitely the most important part of my job.
Mhm.
With that said, we try to go above and beyond for our clients. And, when I first started, Tom had me read a book. It was called Hug Your Customers. And it was really a customer focused business philosophy that basically says, put your customers first. And if you want to retain customers in the long run, you need to go above and beyond,
Mhm.
especially what your competitors are doing. So if that means staying all night to get a project done, we do that. We're the only commercial printer in Oceanside that's open 7 days a week. Because we know the businesses have needs on the weekends too. So we produce in-house. That means we make just about everything we sell locally in our shop. We have quick turnaround times. We do rush jobs. We deliver it at no additional cost. I manage the accounts personally. So I try to make myself as available as I can. And we do all those things so we can have better relationships with our customers.
Mhm.
One thing that's been really effective for us is anytime someone buys something, I set a projected reorder date and I try to follow up with them. So if they order business cards and I see that they order business cards every 6 months, I'll know in 5.5 months to reach out to them, give them a call and say, hey, do you need business cards? So it's
Mhm.
been a great way to maintain the relationship, to, predict what my customers will need and, to be a valuable service for them.
Right, absolutely, and definitely in your industry, I feel like there's a lot of competition. So that relationship maintaining is so important to just creating loyal customers. So I
Yeah.
love that.
There's
Uh,
5 printing shops within a mile
wow.
of our shop. So, there is a lot of
Exactly.
competition.
You have to have that above and beyond mentality in order to, push through. And this leads right into the next question, which are there any changes or trends in your industry, and how did you guys overcome them? Obviously, relationship maintaining is a primary, but are there any other things you guys have done to outlast those trends or changes?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's always been this persistent rumor going around that since the invention of the internet, that traditional print is dying or dead. I just don't agree with that. I think that the printing industry has had to make some pivots, but no matter what, there will always be a need for good printing. Branding, especially as the company gets larger, is incredibly important. So is effective signage. I mean, it's one of the most important marketing tools that business can use, is just having signs. So with that said, 2020 was one big change that we all tried to adapt to as best we could. The biggest challenge for me personally was there was less face-to-face activity and more focus on the telephone or on Zoom or other, internet marketing tools, which has been a huge change because my job was basically going out and meeting with customers. And so I've had to adapt. We increased our marketing budget by probably 30% during COVID just to try to stay in contact with our customers
Mhm.
and still try to reach new business without me going out and knocking on doors. So that's been hard. My largest clients were schools, restaurants, and a sports equipment company.
Right.
And all three of those, they've had some serious setbacks in their ability to work.
Hmm.
So I had to improvise and try to offer things that we thought that those businesses would need at the time. So, it's like restaurants trying to, they need curbside pickup, or they need to let people know that they're still open, or single use menus, things like that.
Yeah.
But th- there's these trends I don't see stopping anytime soon, at
Right.
least not for the next year.
Right. Absolutely. And I too heard the same phrase that print is will be overtaken by digital. And like I think you explained it so well, is that it has and to an extent, but there are still some necessary things that businesses need. And since you've conversed with so many businesses, Is there one particular product that is the most in-demand marketing tool that small businesses are looking for? You mentioned signage, which is a big one, and especially during 2020. But is there anything else that people are looking for, or small businesses are?
Yeah, I mean, all sales are predicated on a needs basis. And so that's what needs to be taken into consideration when I'm referring products and services. So I try to focus exactly on what the business needs to reach their customers and to differentiate their products and to try to drive traffic into their store. So customization has always been key to Alphagraphics. And I realize that each business is different, even if they're in the same industry, but we try to offer custom solutions that fit each of our customers' needs. So, I mean, it just depends. So restaurants, they use signs and they need menus and curbside pickup and banners. Breweries, we do a lot of stickers and labels, event equipment, mailers, things like that. For hotels, it's just basic printed marketing collateral. It just depends on the business. But for like the standard small business, I mean, they always need, banners, business cards, brochures, postcards, stickers. It just depends on how they could get the most bang for the buck.
Right, right, absolutely. And I know our next question obviously has to do with COVID, because that's the talk of the town for many years to come. I don't see it going away. And I know you touched on it a lot, but is there any last minute things you want to add to that, or anything else you want to add about your industry before we kind of shift gears into talking about young professionals?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with COVID, and like everyone else, we had to change the way we market and transact our business. We have been utilizing, we have an online web to print store that we set up our clients with. That allows our clients to go online to order the products that they need and use the most. They do the proof check themselves. They pay online. It sends it right to our printing queue, and we get it made, and so it's streamlined our business. It's given our customers a way to order all their products while minimizing physical contact. So we've tried to make things where someone doesn't have to like see me personally to place an order. But with that said, we're always trying to maintain stronger relationships with our client. We don't want to make it completely without interaction. So we make a lot of phone calls. We send a lot of follow-up letters and postcards. I write a lot of handwritten notes. But
that.
furthermore, with COVID, we increased our marketing budget, because we feel like in times of crisis, that's when we need to communicate with our customers the most. So, for instance, my 10 new contacts today, I'm not going door to door anymore. I'm picking up the phone and calling them, and I'm not just saying, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm saying, what can we do now, or what are you doing now to get more customers? Or I'll share best practices that I see my other clients doing that are being successful. Other things we set up like a curbside pickup so our customers can just pull up and pick up. And then we focus more on our web presence, and especially with the focus for social media. We even hired a woman that is specifically, that's her job all day, just focus on our social media. So really trying to grow that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned, because with marketing, it's always changing, and every person in the situation is different. So I feel like across the board, you guys have kind of figured out how to solve any issue that arise, or help a customer in any way. So I think that's extremely valuable information for anyone in your industry or anybody looking for your services, to kind of see these are the options that we have, and we're here to serve you and figure out your needs. So let's shift gears a little bit and discuss one of your other hats, the new chair of our Oceanside Young Professionals Network. What made you initially want to join the group?
So this is the easiest question for me to answer. So I joined the chamber a couple of years ago. I was fairly new in the business. I was struggling to make connections and build relationships. I was going out all day and not making any sales and contacts. It was brutal. So I joined the chamber specifically to get more involved, to grow my network, and to grow my book of business. Right away, I saw a difference. And this goes back to how I was saying the Oceanside business community, how supportive they are.
Mhm.
So I was able to meet some new business leaders and influencers. I started getting some referrals, and it had a dramatic impact on my sales. And I found out the more I got involved, the more I got out of it. So joining the chamber is a total game changer for me. So I'm eternally grateful for what the chamber has done. Thank you. So with that in mind, I obviously jumped at the opportunity to be the chair of the OIPN. It's I've been involved with the group since I joined it. Since I joined the chamber, I made a lot of amazing contacts. I became friends with most of those people. Haley did a phenomenal job in collaboration with the chamber and growing the group to what it
Absolutely.
is today. So I feel like I have some big shoes to fill, but I'm really excited about the opportunity. There is a lot of room to grow. In today's young business leaders like myself, we need somewhere where we can meet and share our successes. So I'm really.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll jump back a little bit because for anyone who doesn't know what the Oceanside Young Professional Group is it's a group formed out of the Oceanside Chamber a couple years ago. Not exclusive to just chamber members. It's open to everyone in North County. We don't like to age discriminate at all by any means, but it is more situated for business owners or entrepreneurs, business professionals, anyone in the community under the age of 40. And Chris, you mentioned earlier, we do a lot of fun team building exercises. We do pretty much anything that comes up in the community, but we also do volunteer. We've gone on some, when we went on some business tours, and those are really awesome to kind of see behind the scenes, taken on tours by CEOs. We did the North County Food Bank a while back. So some really fun things there. But that is our young professional group. We're growing. We're trying to invite everyone from North County. We just partnered with the Vista Chamber of Commerce, who's looking to form their own young professional group for a fun virtual beer tasting. So Booze Brothers kindly made cute little beers. I did get mine sent to me, so I did get to enjoy them, but they made cute little beers for everybody to try. So it was really fun. And we're just looking for more ways to grow our young professional network here in North County. So with that being said, you mentioned earlier the hotels going in downtown and such, and the growing restaurant scene and the brewery scene and all the fun things happening down in Oceanside. What does the future for young professionals look like here in North County, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, you're right. There's a lot of exciting opportunities and things going on in Oceanside right now. And aside from the restaurant scene and the craft breweries like Belching Beaver, we got Breakwater Brewing, Pacific Coast Spirits, Mission Pacific, the hotel, the Seabird, the new hotels that are going in. There is a lot of economic development going on, and even in the midst of a pandemic. And so there's a huge opportunity for growth. I mean, I would like to, come up with a strategic plan. We could attract more up and coming young professionals beyond just going like the mixers and happy hours and professional development events, but find ways that we could, give back to the community, for instance, like a fundraiser for a common cause, or maybe offering mentorship opportunities. I don't know. But anything where the group can find ways to learn more from each other, to capitalize off each other's successes, and find more resources that we could utilize, and give everyone another avenue for professional growth. Like I said, the my participation in the chamber was a game changer for my business, and I want others to have that same experience,
Mhm.
like I did.
Right, right. And one of the strategic priorities for the Oceanside Chamber is actually workforce development come 2021. So that's a big focus. So I love how you brought up mentorship opportunities and growing that aspect, because we do have a lot of different individuals who are in the group that come from a lot of different industries. And they're in the same shoes as somebody else might want to learn from or might aspire to be. So that would be awesome. Like, keep those ideas in mind, bring them to me later. So lastly, having been a part of so many things here in North County, what is one piece of advice you can share with anyone looking to get into your industry or who's already in it and just wants to succeed and grow?
That's a tough question. I would say fail forward. We're all going to make mistakes along the way, but if we learn from them, then it's not so much a mistake anymore. It's becomes a learning experience.
Mhm.
So, you're going to have setbacks. I've had my share on my climb.
Mhm.
But, if you keep your head down, learn from your mistakes, work hard, don't give up,
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from achieving your goals. I read a book called Fail Forward
Mhm.
years ago, and it helped me a lot because business is tough, and there's lots of things that come up, and
Mhm.
the trick is to not get, don't beat yourself up too much. You just keep working. Yeah.
Right, right. I love that. Don't get discouraged message and everything you've talked about today, relationship building, pivoting when the word pivot is always going to come up, but pivoting when things get challenging and then you will have failures, but you will have just as many successes. So I think that's a great message. So thank you for sharing that. And then lastly, if people want to reach you or learn more about Alpha Graphics or even join the Oceanside Young Professional Network, how can they contact you?
So we can be reached at alphagraphics760.com or online, social media, Facebook and Instagram under Alphagraphics Oceanside. You could call me personally on my cell phone, 858-900-7399, or email me at chris.weiner@alphagraphics.com. I'm happy to help.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for joining us today. This was a lot of really valuable and inspiring information that you gave us. So I look forward to seeing you at our next OIPN event and then also just throughout various things here at the Chamber, our first Tuesday coffee, all the fun stuff we got going on. So thank you very much, Chris, and you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Advancing Oceanside podcast, brought to you by the Oceanside Chamber of Commerce. Continue with us on our journey to help inform, better educate, and ultimately advocate for our business community. You can view any of our other episodes on all podcast listening locations, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or visit our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe to catch all the latest updates on all things Oceanside.